Welcome to the Mashpee Conservation Commission hearing, Thursday, September 18th, 2025. We are meeting in the McCoy Meeting Room, Mashpee Town Hall, 16 Great Neck Road North. Broadcast live on local cable channels 8 and 1072, and we're also streamed live on the Town of Mashpee website. This is hybrid remote meeting with the Zoom meeting ID on the agenda. So first item, if you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item, is there any public comment for any issues not related to agenda items? Anybody in the audience? No public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to we'll jump right into the hearings. The first hearing is the notice of intent filing for 157 Daniels Island Road, Frank and Christina Varinos. Proposed stair, fixed pier, ramp, and float for Daniels Island Road. Representatives Down Cape Engineering, Inc. This is continued from June 26th, July 24th, and August 21st. DEP number is 433348. Good evening.
Good evening. For the record, Danny Gonzalez, professional engineer with Down Cape Engineering, here on behalf of the Varinos and their project at 157 Daniels Island. We had submitted a written request for a continuance to the 23rd. We were advised by staff to show up tonight. Apparently, we had reached maybe a limit or something for continuances. I will say one of those was due to improper notification of abutters for one of those meetings by staff. So we really would appreciate the continuance to the 23rd, just so we can gather the information and try to address all the concerns raised at the last hearing and provide that information to you. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, thanks, Danny. All right, Sandy, any questions? The applicant?
No.
Okay. Paul?
Yes, at the last hearing, I had asked about the berth on the boats, propulsion units, the sizes, and that type of stuff to comply with Regulation 3, number 9, letter I. And I don't know if you've put that together yet or not. Hopefully, when you do come back, you have that.
Yeah, that's one of the things we're working on. We've been in touch with the harbor master for his opinion on, what he would feel comfortable given our design and given that area. So we're still waiting to hear back from him, but I'm hopeful that we'll have that information, or, we'll get you something for sure for that.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Neil? That's it? Okay, Shauna?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Rich?
No, just I think what he said, if we take into account what the harbor master says, he's out there, he's up there quite a bit, so if he comes back with that, that'd be good information as well.
Okay, it is in Regulation 3. Paul and I checked that out, so. Okay, great. Dan, any comment?
Nope, just if you have any revisions that are coming up, I know you just sent some in the other day, but if there's any more, just make sure you have them in by the Thursday prior to the date, that's all.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, so you're requesting a continuance to October 23rd?
Correct.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, do we have a motion to continue 157 Daniels Island Road to October 23rd?
Make a motion to continue 157 Daniels Island Road till 10/23.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote. Sandy?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
And I vote yes, too. Great.
All right. We'll see you on the 23rd.
Appreciate your time.
All right,
Thank you.
Thanks, Danny.
Thank you.
Hey, Rich, just move your microphone closer just in case. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. All right, next item, notice of intent filing, 19 Cricket Way, Nina Kokomazi. Proposed house demolition, reconstruction, mitigation plantings, representatives Falmouth Engineering, Inc., continued from August 21st, DEP number 433360. All right, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, Mike Borselli, Falmouth Engineering. I represent the applicant along with Andrew Garrelay from Yarmouth Port Design.
Brian Wall is also in the audience if there's any specific questions for him. This is a continued hearing. We received input from you and your staff at the original hearing. We made revisions to the plan, the site plan, and the landscape plan. On the site plan, we added dry wells and a dry well detail to demonstrate that all roof runoff would be contained within the dry wells. We show the limit of work clearly on the plan, and a detail of the limit of work. The landscape plan was revised in response to questions about other landscaping on the site beyond the mitigation planting. So Andrew submitted a revised landscape plan, and it demonstrates, I believe, there's no lawn areas proposed. You had requested architectural plans, and they were provided. There was some discussion about concerns with floodwaters entering the lower level of the house and being trapped. I think it was Commissioner Colombo that raised concerns about that. The architectural plans were revised. There was a detail provided on the architectural plans that demonstrates that the proposed slab for the new house is going to be equal to the bottom of the flood vents, such that if floodwaters come into the building, when the floodwater recedes, the floodwater can drain out naturally, and there's no need to put any cutouts in the slab. You also asked us to submit nitrogen loading calculations, which represent the nitrogen loading with a denitrifying septic system that was recently installed on the property, not part of this application, so that was also submitted to the file. I think that sums it up, and we're hoping you can vote to close an issue tonight. We're here for questions.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mike. Okay, going to commissioners. Sandy?
I don't have any questions right now.
Okay, thanks. Paul?
No, I'm good. If the, is that foundation pitched at all, Mike, or is it level with the bottom of those vents? I know last meeting you said there's a possibility that we could pitch it a little bit to get to those fences. Is that how you resolve that issue?
I think it's generally going to be level, so there might be some slight pitch to it. I didn't look specifically or talk to the architect, but it's generally level, so if the floodwaters do come in and then the water level lowers, it'll recede equally around all the flood vents. There might be some very minor, puddling if the slab isn't completely level, but it's intended to be level.
We're not talking about a foot of water sitting
No,
in the basement?
absolutely not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Neil?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Shauna?
No, sounds like they answered everything we wanted.
Okay, Rich?
Yeah, same, and I think in the builder's description of the work, it says flood vents will be placed at top of foundation required, and the new crawl space slab will be pitched from the center, so it will be,
Oh, thank you.
so,
Okay,
It is pitched.
all right.
oh, and yes.
Yeah, I did have a couple of questions. One was, we mentioned lawn restoration. So, didn't know whether you're going to plan to replant. Because
Yeah,
I assume the whole site will be
the-
torn up with excavation and so forth.
Yes, if, Andrew Garrelay, Yarmouthport Design Group, registered landscape architect. Yeah, I put right on the face of the plan, this is going to get, they don't have a lawn now. They have, there's grasses and things growing out there. They have no interest in having a lawn. So the restoration will be done with the New England Wetland Plants seed mix. It's right on the face of the plan here.
Okay. Does that meet, what's that, our regulation 31 for grass?
I ran the plan past Drew. I don't know if I copied
Yeah, as long
Danny.
as they're not applying fertilizer or anything to it, it would adhere with Regulation 31, and obviously there's no bare patches of sand or anything of that nature.
I'm
That's all.
sorry?
And as long as there's no bare patches of sand that could be, runoff or anything, that'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah, this is just to restore some vegetation and, obviously not a lawn. And I think Drew said it was a good,
Yep.
and it's also drought tolerant, and so it's made for sand, that seed mix.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I forgot to mention, I think it was one of the commissioners, Sarah, who's not here tonight, there was some concerns, and she thought that we should get peer review, and there was a peer review report submitted. I
Right.
think it was from the County Extension Service. I read it. It was wordy and long. I was grateful that the summary was on page 1, because the summary basically says there's no issues, but I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, correct, yeah. Did read that. I was going to mention that. Just had one more question. I noticed on the work limit with the hay bales, looks like on the north side, you turned the corner bit, but on the south or easterly side, there's nothing there along Cricket Way. So I see the elevations going from 8 down to 6. So can you just revise the plan and have it turned, so just in case anything, slides off the site onto that side?
Oh, yeah.
Just a small
Happy to
detail
do
there.
that, yep.
Yes, and we did receive the peer review, so that was very clear and accurate.
No issues.
No, it mentioned some recommendations, what to do with equipment and so forth and so on, but any comments, Dan?
Nope, the peer review basically said that there is a large load-bearing capacity for this coastal bank, and that the machinery you'll have on there will not exceed that, as well as the proposed development of the house would not exceed the load-bearing capacity either of the coastal bank. One of the main recommendations is making sure there's a spill kit on site with all the heavy equipment that's going on in case there is any spills of that nature, diesel fuel or whatnot. That is pretty much protocol when it comes to OSHA as well for the heavy equipment. So just ensuring that's done. But that will be covered by the construction protocols by the contractor who drafted those up. So can be included in the order as well if needed. But no comments from me.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I've got one last thing, Steve.
Okay.
I too, Mike, looked through the peer review, which I thought was unbelievably extensive considering the amount of money that we paid for it. But nevertheless, good to have. Before we did get this in place, I believe the plan was to have the machinery in the front of the house, reach over and pull it down that way. So is that plan still the same, even though this peer review testified to the structural capability of that bank? It'd be good to stay off it if we can.
Yeah, I think if you look at the methodology submitted by the architect,
Yeah.
who was also
Does say
the
that.
builder, everything is going to be accessed from the upland. There's no need to have anything on the bank. In fact, there's a limit of work the limit of work is the line in the sand, if you will. Nothing will go beyond that.
Yeah.
And he goes through specific details about how the work will be done that I think should put your mind at ease that no activities are proposed on the coastal bank.
Great.
From my discussions with the builder, the excavators will all remain either on the side of the house or completely behind the house, so they won't be going to, sorry about that. They won't be going to the front part of the house, from our understanding. And the trucks, there'll be no dumpsters or anything. The trucks are gonna take everything off-site the moment they're loaded up, and then bring it right to the dump and come back, basically. So, yeah.
Very good.
All right. Any other discussion? Okay. Do we have a motion for 19 Cricket Way?
Make a motion to close an issue at 19 Cricket Way with staff recommendations of a submission of a 3-year mitigation and monitoring contract, and obviously no placement or storage of items on mitigation areas, vegetated areas, coastal beach, or salt marsh.
And then we want to add in a spill kit to be on site.
And a spill kit for any excavation equipment on site.
And did you want the limit of work on the southwest side extended?
And actually, the hay bales
No,
on the
extra
south
hay
side.
bales?
Yeah, sure.
South side, yeah, sure. Okay. Motion made, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Okay, Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Sandy?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, gentlemen. Okay, next item, notice intent filing for 9 Tuspequin Road, Mario and Gina Bucaperio. Proposed installation of sunroom over existing deck, representatives Wet Tech Land Design, EP number 433366.
Good evening. Mike Canati here representing 9 Tuspequin. This was my second visit before you guys. I came before you filing an IDA. It was determined at that meeting by this board that there was some concern about roof runoff. So I filed an NOI at your request. To refresh everybody's memory, the job is quite simple, quite straightforward. There's an existing sun deck on the back of the house, and we are going to build within the exact same footprint of that. So we're not proposing any vegetation removal, we're not proposing any tree removal whatsoever. We're just going to remove that deck and put a sunroom in the exact same position on sonotubes. All the work will be done by hand, with the exception of a small mini excavator that we're going to use to set the sonotubes in ground. And that will travel across that paver walkway that you see on the right. Yep, exactly. So we'll be traveling in and out. The lot is, it's a pre-existing non-conforming lot. We are actually going to not increase its non-conformity in any way. We're actually going to reduce the lot coverage from 16.5 down to 15.8 in this new footprint. So it's a little slightly smaller than what's existing there now. We are proposing to satisfy this board on each side. We have dry wells, they're NDS 50-gallon dry wells in stone pits on each side that you see in red. And I think that will take the roof runoff that you guys were concerned about at the last meeting. There's roughly 245 square feet of roof on each side, so it's pretty small. And those 50-gallon flow wells in an oversized pit will be substantial to take that roof runoff. And that's pretty much the job. It's very simple, not much to it, and there isn't any proposed vegetation removal at all in the job.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, going to commissioners. Sandy?
No questions?
Okay, Paul?
Yeah, let me, the one dry well that appears to be underneath the patio, is that the location?
The one, no, they're gonna be on each, oh, yes, it'll be underneath the patio, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to pull up the pavers, set it, and reset the pavers.
So will there be some type of a grate over that, or?
No, it'll have an access, you would have, if you had to service it, you'd have to pull up the pavers to get to it if you had to service it. But, the lot's very small and a very limited space to put it. It kind of has to go there. So there isn't a lot of other room to put it.
And what are those pavers? Are they
They're
stone?
pavers, interlocking, pavers, loose, loose set in stone dust.
Yep,
Yep, so it's permeable. The walkway is permeable.
yep. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Neil?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Good. Okay, Shauna?
No.
Okay, Rich?
No questions.
Okay. Do you have any comments?
No, I did talk to one of the abutters when I was on site.
Yes?
So she was just curious. She brought up a civil matter. It has nothing to do with this commission.
Okay.
She just wanted to know if the corners of the property lot could be staked prior to construction. That's all.
I'm sure we could arrange that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's all for me.
Is that all other concerns from the commissioners? I know Sarah had some concerns last time, but concerns that,
Not that it's been brought up with me. No,
okay.
not that it's been brought up with me.
So the abutter didn't put anything formal into us, right?
She didn't
It's
put
just-
anything formally. She said she might join on Zoom tonight. She just wanted to know, these lots, as you know, are very close to each other, and they do have the beach in front of them that everyone uses, so they just like to have their privacy when it comes to that. So I felt that to be a very simple request.
No,
That's all.
I just wanted to make sure I understood.
Yeah, it's pretty open. There isn't any vegetation between the houses really per se. It's just lawn. So it would be an easy stake.
Any comments from the audience? Okay, seeing none. I'm good with everything. So, anybody online?
Don't worry.
Like that. All right, so do we have a motion for 9 Tuspequing Road?
Make a motion to close an issue at 9 Tuspequin Road with the following conditions. I guess per the neighbor, to have the lots corners staked out prior to construction and adhere to Regulation 31.
Okay.
That's nitrogen loading for the lawn, just so we know.
What's that?
Regulation 31 is the lawn standard for for fertilizing.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. Roll call vote. Sandy?
Yes.
Paul? Yes. Rich?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate all your help.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, great. Next one, I'm just going to jump out of order, since I see Wayne here. I'm going to do 101 Papaneset Island Road next. So.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Wayne Tavares. I'm a landscape architect and a professional wetland scientist, representing the Feldmans at 101 Papaneset, Cornfeld at 101 Papaneset Island Road. Presenting a third plan for a pool. It's on Papaneset Creek, and going through your bylaws and so forth, we've talked about the compelling nature of this situation. So it says here in your bylaws to which degree are the normal standards being asked to be put aside. So I hope in 3 applications we've taken this from major impact to moderate impact in the second time. And now we're at a minor impact as we have observed your rules as far as the 65-foot setback. And this pool location and patio is actually like an accessible room. It's an expansion of a room to a house. So we're hoping that you see it that way. As I mentioned, this is the third go-around. And then the other test that you have is to what degree is the mitigation offsetting these impacts. And your table for mitigation is extreme, and one of the most not difficult, but ratio-wise, one of the most, with all the towns that I go before, impactful. So we've complied, and an unusual situation is the pool is distant from the wetland by 75 feet, as we know, and that's the BVW, by the way. And also, the mitigation planting is all between the BVW and the pool. There's 1,000 square feet of lawn being removed for the mitigation area out of the 1,800 square feet. There's also probably another 500 square feet that's being removed from the pool area. The pool area will shed the water to a surrounding French drain. And as I was told, there is no overflow pit that's allowed, so that's been removed from the plan. So we're able to recharge the groundwater with a watershed to a French drain. You can see the dark line that surrounds the entire pool area. We think this is now in the minor stage of a compelling problem. So we hope you go along with it. If there's any questions, we've been over this the third time. And on the plan, you can compare it with the original application, which I put in a dash line. It says original pool patio perimeter. So thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. Okay, go to commissioners, questions?
I have no questions, but I want to thank you for your diligence in getting the pool as far away.
Oh, thank you, sure.
Okay, thanks, Cindy. Paul?
Yeah, I know you were reading from the waiver requirements to what degree are normal standards being asked to be put aside. But if you go up to letter A prior to that on the compelling need, one of the things that I'm struggling with says, at the other non-compelling extreme would be, for an example, the need for a swimming pool as an appurtenance to an already existing and functional house. So I'm struggling with the balance, how much is being proposed, and the fact that it specifically says in the regulations that granting a waiver for a swimming pool is really not a compelling, it's not a compelling need. So, and I know we've worked hard to get this thing out. I'm glad it's out of the buffer zone. But I'm still struggling with Roman numeral 4, letter A.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No,
That's good, okay. Neil?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Shauna?
So again, to echo Sandy's thank you, you've come a long way, and actually, I don't think the aesthetic of it is actually that unpleasing too, given where we ended up. But I think I don't think you have answered the question why this property owner needs this pool.
You want me to respond after all the commissioners have
No,
responded?
you can respond.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was mentioned, I mean, we've been here 3 times. I would have hoped that in the first go-around, we would have brought this up. So I went to number 2. We haven't established a compelling use, but we haven't said no either. So we came before with what I would call a moderate impact, and that was refused because it was out of the 75-foot zone. And that's a new zone, by the way, so if it was at 50 feet, we would have been better off, but I didn't think it could be designed, so I like puzzles, so I got back on the computer and worked in the same size pool, same size patio, and I've got some positive comments as far as the structure is concerned. So this is a balance. Need is hard to prove. You can talk about address, you can talk about location, you can talk about New Seabury, but the point is that we've gone through 2 meetings, and I was hoping we stepped beyond that. Or at the first meeting, we said, this is a pool, we don't want to even see it. We don't want to see it in the backyard. But we have some rules to follow, and we've followed the 75-foot setback. We've made it a room that's actually part of the house, although it's on ground level. We satisfied questions like hydrostatic valves and flood control, et cetera. We've answered a lot of questions in 2 meetings, and it would seem hard at this point to bring up Part A, when that should have been answered in the first 2 meetings. So I have no answer for that. They come to see me, owners come to see me when they want an outdoor amenity, whether it's a pool or a tennis court. Outdoor amenities are hard to prove. They're hard to express need for. So in the first 2 meetings, it was a question of where it was, so I thought we had sort of satisfied that. And now this is what bylaws are. They serve to contain where this was and to the best extreme. So your mitigation formula works out. I've compared the first one to this current one, and as you can see, it's a one-line item outside of 75 feet, and it came out to more mitigation than previous. So those mitigation beds have been changed to reflect those distances. So that's the third part of this. It says, how does it impact it? So if we're at the minor stage, I assume we're at the minor stage. In the beginning, we were at the major stage of this, and then we went to moderate, and now we're at minor, and I'm sorry to repeat that. I think it's important to get on the table, though. And then to what degree will this mitigation offset this? It offsets it wonderfully. The other thing that was asked is to leave the beach plum that's on the top of the slope adjacent to the BVW, and just above the high tide bush, Iva-frutescens, and we've done that as well, so we're leaving that Rosa rugosa, although that's not a town favorite. But we've done the best we can. We put in straw wattles and a limit of work. We've said that on one side of the work, we'll have to need machinery. On the other side, it'll be all handwork. This is an excellent project that's met with 2 of your meetings, this being the 3rd, and we just hope that you can see the balance of this. Need is hard to bring up. It's a question of inserting something. Oh, by the way, the coverage on the coverage bylaw, which doesn't appear here but appears on the survey map, is this is far under the coverage of a standard lot. They're allowed 20%, and here it's something like 11 to 12 or 13%. So we're well under the coverage of the entire lot. I don't see anything wrong with this, and this is a function of this board, is to push us consultants back to a point where you feel comfortable. And I'm trying very hard to get you into a comfort zone where you say, yes, we understand part A, but we should have brought that up in the first meeting. And then I wouldn't have had a second or third meeting. We're here at the 3rd. I'm trying very hard to
Okay.
go along with your bylaws. Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne.
Sorry.
Okay, Rich?
Similar to what Sandy said, I appreciate you doing the extra work and all the information that we provided you in the first and second meetings to come here in the 3rd, so I think it's significantly better. Thank you.
Yeah, I looked at the plan, Wayne, and the amount of mitigation in the lawn that's coming out is a fair amount, so there's a lot of protection down along the BVW. And where the pool is, it's gonna be pervious, you have the dry well, and that lawn is coming out. So basically, you trade in some previous pavers and the pool for lawn, so, I think you did a lot of hard work. And getting out of the 75-foot buffer really helped a lot. So. All right. Dan, any comments?
No, I don't have any at this time.
All right. Any more questions, discussion? Seeing none, do we have a motion for 101 Pompanesett Island Road?
Make a motion to close an issue at 101 Pompanesett Island Road. I'm assuming it's because it's not, I don't see it here, it's a 3-year mitigation plan? Yeah, so I think that was the only condition, I guess?
And the standard no dumping out, the standard pool
Yeah,
conditions
that's
and
all.
stuff like that, right?
Yes, the pump truck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all on this.
That's boilerplate and any,
boilerplate, okay.
even non-pool
Okay.
permits. Yeah.
Okay, so the only condition would be a 3-year mitigation.
Correct.
And monitoring
Yes.
contract.
Dan, do we this is gonna be a saltwater pool, correct?
Yes.
So, yeah.
And do we have that somewhere, that's what it'll be for infinitum?
When they apply for it, my understanding is that whatever's on the plan of record has to stay that way.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
it would have to stay that way unless they want to come back and change it. But I think we can all agree that salt water is definitely better than a chlorinated pool.
That was more for educating me, so thank you.
All right, do we have a motion made? Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made second. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Sandy?
Yes.
Paul?
I still can't get past the compelling need. I'm going to vote no.
Okay. Rich?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Great, thank you.
Motion passes.
There were some members that are missing, so how do you address that from prior meetings?
They are not here tonight, so they wouldn't be voting members for this, so you had a quorum of voting commissioners that just approved the project.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next item, notice of intent filing for 80 Summersea Road, Jennifer Liban. Proposed septic system upgrade, representatives Falmouth Engineering.
Oh, I'll take this, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Again, for the record, Mike Borselli, Falmouth Engineering, and I represent the applicant Jennifer Liebman. We filed a notice of intent for one specific activity, and that is to upgrade the existing failing septic system to a new Title V compliant with an innovative alternative component added, also known as a denitrifying component. You recently made a policy that septic system upgrades in your jurisdiction should be heard through a notice of intent, so we filed the notice of intent. There are no other activities on the property. There's an existing 3-bedroom house with a detached garage. There are no lawn areas. Everything is either bark mulch, naturalized, or gravel driveway, all existing. The septic system failed an inspection. The house is on the market for sale, and the system failed because it has a leaching component that's a leaching pit, which is a round and tall cylinder, and the bottom of that cylinder is in close proximity to the groundwater. The cylinder-type leaching systems are no longer allowed under Title V. They want shallow or spread-out leaching systems that take advantage of bottom area more than sidewall area. There's an existing 1,500-gallon tank associated with that. Both of those components are proposed to be removed. A new leaching system, a new 1,500-gallon septic tank, and a new nitro denitrifying septic system component are proposed, all between the house and Aquay Bay. Everything has been sited in areas that are previously disturbed, either driveway or mulch areas between the house and the road. We actually went to the Board of Health first, and they approved the plan. We asked for even relief from the front yard setback of 10 feet. We asked to reduce that down to a practical no less than 5-foot setback to get it even further away from the wetlands. I submitted nitrogen loading calculations that demonstrate if the system were even a compliant Title V system that passed the inspection, the nitrogen loading is 15 parts per million. But with the new system with an IA component, the nitrogen loading is reduced down to just above 5 parts per million. So it's reduced by, it's 1/3 of what a compliant Title V is. And this system failed because it's too close to the water table. Before anyone on the commission finds it, I'm going to point out that for whatever reason, it was a bad week. Maybe I didn't show a limit of work on the plan. There should be a limit of work on the plan. So there'd be a limit of work probably from the corner of, that right corner around. Oh, you have.
It's on the plan.
Your plan has it. I have an older version. Oh, look at that. I thought of it.
We got the good one.
So there you go. I have it on there.
Somebody on your staff deserves a star.
So someone caught that. I think that sums it up. We did everything we can to get this as far away from all the resources, and it's in a denite septic system. happy to take questions.
Okay, thanks, Mike. All right, going to commissioners, Sandy?
Oh, no questions.
Okay, Paul?
No, I think I'm all set.
Okay, Neil?
Looks like a good plan.
Okay.
I'm good.
Rich?
No, very good.
Okay, Mike, a couple of quick questions. The limit of work, it's not spelled out. Are you going to use hay bales?
I know you don't like silt fences, so yes, it would definitely be hay bales. It can be, certainly be a condition that we use staked hay bales. Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right, and then, looking at the photographs again. Thank you. Looking at the photographs, I see some plantings and vegetation there. Looks like right where the tanks are gonna go and so forth.
Yep.
Is there a plan to put it back, any plantings?
It would be restored back to that or something similar to that, yes. Ground covers and mulch like that.
Because, yeah, it looks like there's some smaller plants and
Shrubs.
and things like
Yes.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A
Dan,
lot
you
of
have
that
any?
terrible weed, too.
Yeah.
No, I don't have anything. The reduction in the nitrogen loading is really big for this, and I think that this is a good project going forward, so.
Okay, great. Any other questions from commissioners? Okay.
Should have it been staked?
I don't know.
Do we usually require staking of a,
Should be.
wasn't staked?
Yeah, it was not staked, but it is a discretion of the commission if they want to give leeway for that or not. Something like this,
I don't think it, but
it's pretty straightforward, but again, commission's discretion.
Just note it.
Yep, regulation 3, so.
All right, no other questions? Do we have a motion for 80 Summersea Road?
Make a motion to close an issue at 80 Summersea Road with, the only condition is the hay bales around the limit of work.
And we want plantings along the front.
Mulch and ground cover and mulch is to go in it back in its place. I don't know what's there for shrubs, so I can't.
Yeah, this along the street, there was some shrubs and things like that, so, along that front line.
There's no proposal for lawn.
Right. but if
Certainly
you-
make that a condition if you need.
I would just recommend replanting it as a horticulture bed, because that's what it looks like at this point. So whoever gets it, I hear, understand it's for sale, so whoever gets it, just replanting it, that's all.
Okay, so just the two conditions there. Okay, all right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Oh, I should ask, anybody in the audience has any questions? Okay, so, motion made and seconded, roll call vote, Sandy?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next item on the agenda is 228 Waiting Place Road, Premium, excuse me. Proposed construct and maintain elevated boardwalk, invasive removal and mitigation, Representative Cape and Islands Engineering, DEP number 433363.
Good evening. For the record, Raul Lizardi from Cape and Islands Engineering. And in the audience, we have the applicant. So this project, some of you may recall, about a month ago, the applicant came before you, not with an actual application, but informally to ask this commission for advice on how to permit a structure for him to access the existing pier on his property. And given he has mobility problems, he needed a hard surface to get to the pier. So he received some feedback from this commissioner to provide a design for a low-profile boardwalk, similar to the boardwalk that crosses the property from the neighbors, for him to access his pier. So the project that is presented with this application is to construct a low-profile boardwalk. It is roughly 2 to 2.5 feet above the dune, and the entire span of the boardwalk is on a dune. The location that was chosen was the closest location within the property owner's property, and it spans approximately 60 feet, 66 feet. A section we're looking to install this has a little angle. The purpose for the angle is to fit between two existing cedar trees. There are some limbs on the cedar trees that will have to be pruned down, but we do not expect to remove these trees. Now, the total square footage of the structure calculates to a mitigation requirement of roughly more than 1,000 square feet. The mitigation that we are proposing is restoration and invasive removal of about 2,000 square feet on the property. Now, some of you may know this project or this property for a different application. And a lot of the vegetation that's over to the south side and closest to the wetland resources, all of that land also includes invasives and non-native species, but all that is part of a prior mitigation for the main work for the house. So we're not double dipping here. All of that mitigation for that project is still set aside for that project, which hopefully will be completed through the courts pretty soon. But this 2,000 square foot of mitigation does not overlap mitigation requirements for that project. So the whole purpose here is to create that hard surface access to the pier for the applicant. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer.
Great, thank you. All right, going to commissioners. Sandy?
No.
Okay, Paul?
Not right this minute, but I may in a.
Okay. All right, Neil?
Yeah, I don't have anything right now.
Okay, thanks. Shauna?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Rich?
I'm good.
Okay. Raul, so I noticed on the planting, so you have a different shrubs and trees, eastern cedar and bayberry and so forth. Do you have a detailed planting plan of that, how you're gonna lay things out with those plants?
So I'm not sure how many of you actually visited the site. So a couple of the invasives are vines. So there's bittersweet crawling on some of this vegetation. And we don't know, once you remove all the vine covering, if there are some natives that can remain. Another one of the invasive species is the locust trees, the black locust. So we are kind of proposing to do trees because we are intending to remove the invasive locust trees. So we're proposing trees for that. The amount of new plantings that will go in place will depend on what bare areas are left behind. We do know that there is multiflora rose, and that grows through suckers. So we intend that that area will be removed, and those areas will be replanted with native species. But the actual spacing and location of specific plantings will likely depend on what is left behind once the invasives are removed.
Okay.
And it's not just bittersweet and locust. There's a lot other invasive species. There's English ivy crawling all over. There's a couple of trees that have been already died because of the amount of invasives that have grown on them. But exact quantity or spacing and layout will not be known once the invasives are managed.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be comfortable if, once you perform that task, that you come back to staff with a detailed planting plan that they could share with.
Yeah, one of the recommendations from staff in the staff report is that a 2-year maintenance and reporting is provided. So maybe something to amend to that recommendation is that the first step will be to provide a further detailed plan once the invasives are removed. That will give an idea of what's bare, what is available for new plants.
Okay. And then the other question I had was, I know this is fairly low to the dune and so forth, but in case there is a large storm event, how will you keep track of timbers and so forth floating away? Is a, you know, you have signage on it, or?
So that is.
Or is it, you know, how's it going to be constructed to, instead of come apart in pieces, individual boards versus like a unit, like a, you know, like you see on a dock float or something like that?
So one of the other recommendations from staff was to place a sign. And the typical sign is the one that is usually required for docks and piers, which it shows the address of the property and the DEP number, the permit number. Now, this is not something that we can like tag onto every single individual deck board, but the main components. This is a 60-foot long section, so maybe 4 of these signs will cover the spans of the stringers. That if it dislodges, the stringers are mostly the ones that are going to be moving around. Now, if you read the details, one of the connectors that we're calling are hurricane clips. So these are pretty good connectors between the yokes and the stringers. So we expect these units to behave as a unit. But of course, storms can do a lot of damage, and who knows what can really happen. And similar to the one that was approved for the neighbors, this is using the 6-inch piles. This is not the typical 4x4 posts. So these are actually 6-inch piles driven in the dune. So it's not that slender of a structure.
Okay, so, you know, that sounds good. You know, I like the detail there. So how do you plan to drive those into the dune?
So it's handheld equipment. So it'll be a handheld auger to get down to the depths that we need to set these timbers or these piles in. Because it is a dune, the recommendation in this type of digging is to have a hose and keep like building a sandcastle, keep the sand wet so that it keeps from caving in. But it is going to be a hassle to just keep the hole, once it's to the right depth, drop the pile in.
Okay, great, thanks.
1,000 kids with buckets in that place have built things.
Paul, do you have any additional questions?
Yeah, I was just looking at the velocity zone boundaries, and this is clearly in it. And do you think 5 feet down is adequate?
For this shallow structure, it is. It is not a complete enclosure. So this is not something that water can go under or over. So it's not something that can become buoyant. It's not something that will in any way really displace much of the water. And for those who actually went to the site and saw the area, this dune, compared to the actual beach area, it's a little lower. So it actually kind of dips down towards the existing boardwalk where it's going to be connecting. So we anticipating that the wave action is coming from the actual ocean, hitting the beach, the wave action will likely go over this whole structure.
So on the call-out, you've got these 2x6 yoke typical that are connecting the sides. How many of those, what's the distance between those, Roe?
So every pile connection, and you have a profile shown on the plans.
Yeah.
10 feet on center, we have the yokes. And the yokes is where the stringers rest on top of. If you think about the design, it is similar to a pier.
Right.
It is just shallow to keep it at a low profile.
Okay, I'm all set.
Dan, any comments?
No, I was only going to ask about the piles going in, but you covered that completely, so no comments from me.
Any comments from the audience? Okay, seeing none. More discussion.
One last issue.
Sure.
I know it was brought up that the original building proposal is still tied up in the courts, and you had no idea what the length of time was. I'm not asking the
Right.
length of time. I'm just wondering, what position does that leave the commission in to be ruling on a proposal for the same piece of property while the previous proposal is still undecided in the courts. Is that legitimate? I'm not a lawyer, so.
Yeah.
There's one sitting here in the audience, so maybe he can help us out.
From my understanding, this project does not encompass any of the area of the raise and replace and all the other mitigation and everything that's going on there.
Right.
And since it is held up in an appeals and all of that, that should be fine going forward with this. So the only question might come up of, when are you going to install? Are you going to wait for the house or that project, or are you just going to go ahead with this firsthand? There isn't legally, from my understanding, any concern there.
Yeah.
Since there is, this project has no overlapping areas for the previous one. So that's from my understanding.
If I could add something else, the pier is there, and it is used. So the access to the pier will still be done, regardless of what happens with the house.
Right. Okay, I'm all set.
Okay. All right, no more discussion. Do we have a motion for 228 Waiting Place Road?
Make a motion to close an issue at 228 Waiting Place Road with the following conditions. A detailed planting plan will be provided after the removal of the invasive species. And are we going to go with 4 signs throughout the length of the boardwalk with a DEP number?
Yep. Okay, and then all posts to be hand augured in. Yeah.
And all the posts to be hand augured to a depth of 5 feet? Is that
5
what it
feet,
is?
yeah. Okay, do we have a second?
Second?
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote. Sandy?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item, notice of intent filing for 2 Bayview Road, Peter and Rachel Van Rid. Proposed raise and rebuild single-family dwelling with septic system upgrade. Representatives Cape and Islands Engineering, DP number 433364. Good evening.
Good evening. For the record, Raul Lizardi from Cape and Islands Engineering, representing the applicant and property owners for this project. This project, as just mentioned, is a complete raise and rebuild with a D-Night septic system upgrade. The wetland resources on or within 150 feet of the property, there's a salt marsh, there's a coastal bank, and there's land subject to coastal stone flowage on the abutting property. The property itself is not in the flood zone, and the only portion that is within the 150 foot to the coastal bank is the back 25 or so setback from the back property line. From this project, there is 25 square feet of the proposed deck on the back of the house that falls within the 150-foot buffer to the coastal bank. The rest of the house, driveway, and rest of the property are outside of the 150-foot buffer to the coastal bank. This coastal bank is the same coastal bank from a project notice of intent application that I filed and presented 2 weeks ago before this commission on the adjacent property. So this is the same wetland resources that we're dealing, except that we're further away from those wetland resources. For the 25 square footage of the deck that is proposed within the 150 foot, that location only happens between 146 to 150. So it's in the very most outer section of the 150 foot buffer zone. And that increase in square footage would require 50 square foot of mitigation planting. The plan proposes 54 square foot of mitigation planting. That's roughly 4 or 5 shrubs within the area that's been chosen on the plans. The septic system is a denitrifying septic system. There's also reduction in lawn areas of about 1,400 square feet. So overall nitrogen is being reduced from around 15 parts per million to about 12 parts per million. And the project has been filed with the Board of Appeals The closest point from the septic system to the salt marsh is 134 feet. State requires 100 feet for that setback. So the septic system provides adequate setbacks to the wetland resources. And again, it's an enhancement over existing condition as a denitrifying septic system. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer.
Great, thank you. All right, Commissioners, Sandy?
Yes, I have a question. I believe this house right now is a one-bedroom, is that
Yes.
correct? And in your narrative, you said it's going to become a four-bedroom?
Yes.
So in your narrative, you said there's no increase in flow. How can that be if it's going from a one to a?
No, if it was typed in the narrative, that was a mistake.
Okay,
It is intended to go from one bedroom, one current existing bedroom, to 4 bedrooms.
okay.
Does that answer your question?
So there is an increase in flow?
There is
Yeah.
an increase in flow. Okay. All set, Sandy?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, all right.
Thinking.
Paul?
I was just looking at the soil logs, and I was looking for groundwater elevation. I don't see that.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah, I was noticing the same thing. You have a groundwater depth there?
So for this particular test that we did at this site, we didn't hit groundwater, but we do have tests from the adjacent property and other 2 adjacents. The other project that was presented to this board last month was the one right across the street, 41 Secundset Island. So we do have soil information with water levels. So this septic system is more than 5 feet above the groundwater.
Based on the testing of
Of the
other
testing
people's
in the
property.
vicinity area, yes.
And these logs that we do have, Raul, when were those taken?
So the test was done on April 2025.
Oh, I see it, yeah. All right.
So it went down 10 feet?
Yeah, sometimes you can hit a test hole during a high water level, and you hit the water level at the 10 feet. Other times you can dig 11 feet and don't hit water level. At this ground elevations of 14, I don't suspect we'd be hitting groundwater probably until we hit 12 feet depths.
Okay. I'm all set, thank you.
Okay, Neil?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, Shauna?
The 2 beautiful old oaks, they're gonna be safe?
So there is one oak, so you obviously went to the site. There's one oak that is split,
Yep.
and one is leaning. I believe that leaning one will have to be removed, because I don't know if that split, it's already compromising that tree, and if it falls, it either falls on the existing house or on the new house.
So that probably the insurance company would want that gone
Right.
anyway. And the one on the fence line?
That one is
in the
not
property,
proposed
that
to be
one's-
removed.
okay.
Okay,
That was it?
all right. Rich?
Just one question. The area in the front of the house, I guess between the proposed porch and the driveway, those are pavers there?
Yes.
Are those pervious? Or what are you going to be putting down for pavers?
So I'm not sure about the details on those pavers. I really don't have the details on that. Now, that portion of the property is well beyond the 150-foot buffer zone. It slopes towards the road and not towards the wetlands.
Okay.
Okay. Roll, one question I have is, so where the new septic system is going within the 150-foot buffer, what's going back on top of that? Is it just lawn? out
So
there?
right, it will be restoring the lawns. So we'll have your typical, I guess, condition that no more than 1,000 square foot of lawn or 10% of whatever the lot can be restoring lawn. And for those who went to the site, the whole site has been developed. It's not like there is standalone trees, but there's no naturally vegetated buffer zone on the property.
Okay, so we can meet the Reg 31
Yes.
lawn standards, okay. All right, Dan, any questions, comments?
No, not for me. One thing I was interested to see that the septic currently is on the road side of the house in the front, and you were just putting it in the back within jurisdiction. So I didn't know if there was any possibility or options to put it under the driveway.
So based on Title V regulations, the first objective of installing septic system is to put them in green spaces,
Understood.
better oxygen and so forth. Underneath pavers or driveways or any hard surfaces, that will be if there's no other alternatives.
Okay.
So this back location on the property meets all the Title V regulation setbacks, and it's all going to be green space on top.
So Board of Health.
So it's preferred than having it in the front. The reasoning is, once you have a hard surface on top, there's less oxygen that gets into the soils, and you need the oxygen to have a good system.
Absolutely. So just curious.
Okay, great. Any other questions from commissioners? Okay, seeing none, do we have a motion for 2 Bayview Road?
Make a motion to close an issue at 2 Bayview Road with following conditions: no more than 10% lawn, and I know it doesn't state anywhere, the 54 square feet of mitigation planting. Is that a 2-year plan, a 3-year plan? What does staff recommend?
With that low of a number, I would do a 2-year plan for that.
Then a 2-year mitigation plan for the 54 square feet of mitigation plantings.
Great, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second?
Okay, any other discussion? Any- Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Sandy?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Good night, everyone.
I'm just, excuse me, I'm going to jump ahead to 8 Taffrail Way, and we'll save you guys for
Yeah.
last one, so. All right, so next, we're going to jump ahead for a notice intent filing for 8 Taffrail Way, John Cullen, proposed septic system upgrade and mitigation. Representatives Marsh Matters Environmental, and do we have a DP number on that one?
Yes, we actually just got it in. So their DEP number is 43-3368.
Great, thank you, Dan. Okay, this one is a continuance, so that's why we jumped ahead.
I see.
Take care of that.
Perfect timing.
Good evening, Peter McEntee with Engineering Works, representing Mr. Cullen, and I have Mike Ball here with me with Marsh Matters Environmental. The last time we were here before you, we came with an RDA, and it was a positive determination, so you asked that we return with an NOI and also with a new plan. I had revised the plan that I didn't get to you prior to the meeting last time, and have done another revision to it too, based on the concerns that you had at the last meeting. So I changed the design of the system. The components are in the same location. The treatment unit, the pump chamber, the leaching system is virtually in the same location as I had modified it before. The difference is that I switched it to a singular treatment system, for the groundwater and reduction of the area that are allowed under the approval. I also switched the leaching system to a drip dispersal for uniform effluent distribution and minimal grade change. And Paul had concerns regarding the ASFEP and the impact on buoyancy to the tanks, so we anchored the tanks down with extended bases on the concrete chambers to avoid any flotation. So we modified we tightened up the work limit and added mitigation for the disturbed areas, which Mike can address.
Yeah, the mitigation meets, I think it slightly exceeds the required amount. Just doing a combination of sweet pepper bush in the more upland area and high tide bush closer to the resource area. So I think, yep, I see it 27, 27, 25, 27 plus 630, right, 3,202 square feet. So that does meet your requirements for disturbance. I did provide a couple of pictures just showing you where those plantings will go. They're up there in the packet there, and the area is pretty devoid of understory, and so we would just be planting to fill in that understory and some mulched areas right around the house, so there'll be quite a few native plantings going back in there. I think that covers it.
Okay, great, thanks, guys. Okay, go to commissioners. Sandy?
Nothing right now.
Okay, Paul?
Yeah, hold on one second. So Peter, it says 3-foot minimum separation to groundwater. Is that, have you brought that
The
before?
3-foot separation to groundwater is granted under the approval for the technology we have without asking for a variance from the Board of Health.
Really?
Yes. And it's also, if you've seen drip dispersal, it's, half-inch tubing that's wrapped in loops with several emitters that during a pumping cycle pumps out about half a cup of water. So you've got uniform distribution over the entire area. So, and with this system, we're really very little, if any, grade change to the existing topography.
All right.
I
Okay.
wanted to have the area surrounding the leaching system for 5 feet around the perimeter to be the lawn mix that you guys prescribe. And also, I wanted to have the lawn mix over the 2 tanks for access to the tanks, so they're not hidden by a bush over the future, so.
Okay. Is there any way, Peter, to shift that leaching system a few feet so that it's outside the 75-foot buffer to the salt marsh?
Well, it's going to push it up into the area, we'd have to get we'd have to go back for a variance to the Board of Health we've been granted a variance for our 5-foot setback to the front property line. We're also further constrained by the location of the water service that's next to it, and I didn't want to have we'd have to make it longer and narrower, which would push it up into where the trees are, and I'm trying to avoid
Right.
taking any trees down and staying away from the root system of the
Yeah.
trees.
Okay. I'm all set, thanks.
Okay. Neil?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Okay, Shauna? Okay, Rich?
No questions.
Okay. Yeah, I like that you got the planting mitigation. That's great because that, it's all open areas with bare bark mulch there, so that's really going to help out and provide a good buffer. And, yeah, the drip system is, that's really helpful there. So, great, thanks. Any comments or anything?
No, the mitigation package that's being supplied for this proposal is absolutely what's needed, and it's above, 630 square feet of what's required. So I think that's great to see, especially for a septic upgrade. And I don't think I see any removal of trees on this.
No, I think, well, there's one tree that is not shown there that I believe is closer to the southern side of the soil absorption system. That will have to be removed. I think it's about an 8-inch tree.
Okay.
But I didn't verify that again when I went out there. I sent the crew out there to stake it out, and I didn't personally go down there after it was staked, so.
In light of that, I feel with the extra 600 plus mitigation, I think that's perfectly acceptable. So, no concerns from me.
All right. One last question. What's the nitrogen number going to be on this now?
Got it right here.
Okay, just double check.
Got it there?
There it is.
11.4. Okay. Great. Okay. Any other discussion? No? Anybody in the audience? No? Seeing none, okay. Do we have a motion for 8 Taffrail Way?
Make a motion to close an issue at 8 Taffrail Way with one condition of a 1-year mitigation and monitoring contract.
Okay, great. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Before we go to the vote, can I ask one further clarification?
Sure.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Peter, you mentioned that the tank is anchored down.
It's anchored down. It has an extended base around the bottom of it.
And can you just tell me a little bit about that anchorage system?
Well, the concrete extends 6 inches around the perimeter of each tank.
Yeah.
And the weight of the earth over that is calculated into the buoyancy.
Okay, so it's the flange on the bottom.
It's a flange on the bottom, and it's based on weight only, not frictional forces, which do add
Right.
to it. And with the weight of the combined earth and the tanks can be fully submerged, and there won't be anything coming out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it won't be coming out of the ground, I can believe me.
It's in a precarious
I've
spot.
seen floating
though.
tanks, too.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so we have a motion made and seconded. Go to a roll call vote. Sandy?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Great. All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you all very much.
Next item is notice of intent filing, 34 Triton Way, 11771 Calla Lilly LLC. Proposed construct of a single-family home. Representative is Merrill Engineering and Land Surveyors. And do we have a DEP number on this?
We just got that one as well with Taffrail. So that's 43-3367.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. For the record, Tim Santos from Merrill Engineers representing the applicant. Also with me this evening is Mark Mazzarelli, who has prepared the planting plan for the project. Project is located at 34 Triton Way. Some of you may be familiar with this project. We were here, I think, back in March for the riprap and slope repair that is in dire need, if you've been to the site. So resource areas on or within 100 feet of the property are Nantucket Sound, then we have a velocity zone, the flood zone coming up the bank, and then the coastal bank itself. The entire property is located within 150 feet of the top of the bank. Currently developed with an existing single-family home, decks, driveway, walkways, lawn and landscaped areas. If you've been to the site, the house is in dire need of repair as well. So we are here tonight proposing to tear down the existing home, construct a new home on the site. All roof runoff will go to dry wells. We are proposing a new Title V septic system that incorporates a nitro denitrification system. I had inadvertently left out the nitrogen calcs in the notice, but I have sent them over to Drew and Daniel this afternoon. The existing conditions, nitrogen calculation is 12.82. The proposed conditions are 3.98. So that's over a 2/3 reduction. The system itself is located over 100 feet from the top of the coastal bank. We are proposing a pool with a patio around the backside of the house as shown. The existing deck is 24.3 feet from the top of the bank, and the proposed house will be the proposed deck will be 24.3 feet. So it's moving no closer. It's right around the same distance. We have provided mitigation calculations that are shown on our plan. 5,620 square feet is required under your mitigation calculations, and we're proposing over 6,100 square feet of the mitigation calculations. I'm going to turn it over to Mark so he can review the landscape plan with you, and then we'll address any questions you might have.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. Mark Mazzarelli, landscape architect. This was a very interesting challenge to repopulate the site with native plants, and we were very careful to work within the existing conditions as much as possible. And in this end, it amounts to planting in between the existing tupelo and cedar trees primarily. Along the edges, those are fairly stabilized with the existing trees that will remain. The challenge was, from a design standpoint, to mix natives entirely, and we used the Cape Cod Cooperative Extension List as a guideline. So the spacing of plants that you see are in accord with this, with the plant widths and spacing recommendations as put forward in those recommendations. So what you'll see in a nutshell is a mix of understory trees, Amelanchier, holly, rose bay magnolia, and I think we have, also we have the Amelanchier as well, and American dogwood. And for the understory areas that are existing, we've got a mix of clethra, we've got some viburnum, all the usual suspects, Ilex glaber, Ilex reticillata, Amamella virginiana. And we really think this is the idea was to balance the nature with the man-made and try to find a compromise. And I think this plan reflects that very well. Thank you. Yes, that ends the presentation for me, unless the commission has some questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right, go to commissioners for questions.
I guess one of my concerns is the pool, being so close to the top of the erosion area of the coastal bank. I just wonder if that's a necessity to have a pool right there?
That's a desire by the homeowner. Currently, right now, the deck is actually closer than that proposed pool, so that pool is set back a little further than the existing deck.
Yeah, but that stake with the stake there today is pretty close to the erosion area.
That bank is in serious need of repair,
Right.
so it's supposed to be happening in October. We finally received the Chapter 91 approval, so they can now move forward.
And I see that there's lawn area proposed in front of the pool.
Yeah, so there currently exists, I believe it's like 4,800 square feet, 48 square feet of lawn on the site now. Obviously, it hasn't been fully maintained because the site hasn't been maintained in a while, but from the edge of the clearings in is over 4,800 square feet. And the new site, you're going to end up with lawn in that back area about 20 feet off of the backside of the patio to the top of the bank and 60 feet wide. So there is a large reduction of lawn from what currently exists to what is proposed.
I was just wondering if native shrub plantings instead of as much lawn would help with that erosion on the bank, because even once it's stabilized, it's still going to be.
That's something we could talk about.
Okay, I guess that's for me.
Okay, thanks, Sandy. Paul?
Yeah, I'm going back to the pool. I did not bring a scale, but I did kind of mark it off with a piece of paper. Do you have a figure?
I think we do.
It's
Yes, we do.
320 square feet.
No, but he wants to know the dimensions, I think.
No, I want to know the distance from the edge of the
Coastal
pool
bank.
to the top of the coastal bank. I've got a little, like 31 feet maybe.
It's a little over 30 feet, so if you give me
I
one
did it
second.
on marking that paper with your scale.
I'd say it's just over 30 feet.
Yeah. I didn't bring a,
It's around 30 feet, but he's going to confirm that for
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
It's 30 feet,
30 feet.
yes.
And what is the depth of the pool?
Depth of pool? Depth of the swimming pool. Is it a lap pool or is it a diving pool? It's a lap pool. So it'll be lap pools?
4 feet
4
deep?
feet, 3 to 4 feet? Yeah.
Okay. I'm all set.
I just share the same concerns with the pool being that close to the top of the coastal bank.
Okay, Shauna?
Do you really have 24 feet from the edge of the deck to the?
So that, obviously, if you've been to the site and you've seen it, but
I'll admit that I didn't bring my tape
tape,
measure,
yeah, so
but I
that's.
paced it off.
So
and
that scarp.
I
that-
rode horses.
That
so I can-
erosion has come in even more.
You don't have, I don't think you have 24
Well, from
feet
the
now
original,
plan, right?
the original bank, top of the bank, there was 24 feet before everything started to erode.
I just.
So once that bank that this board approved is reconstructed, there's 24 feet.
Okay. Thank you. I think I missed I wasn't here at the meeting that you
Okay,
presented
I'm
the
sorry.
bank, so my fault for
No,
not doing that. What's the lot coverage on this?
It's 17 point, let me just look here, 17.2% is the lot coverage.
And I guess my kind of biggest concern is, given the stability of the bank, the fact that if you're looking at, from the street, looking at the house, you've got a bank to the house to the left, which looks like the house is getting planted on that bank, or at least where I assumed it was, where it was staked. You're cutting into that bank a little bit, heading towards the neighbors to the left. This lot seems very unstable.
There's, where the garage is going, you're talking about?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about, to the north of the screen here?
Yes.
So,
that's-
yeah,
that's-
so
that's
that portion of the house,
That slopes
that,
back to the
it
street.
it slopes down.
Slopes back
Correct,
to the
yeah.
street.
It's a bit, yeah, it's a,
So any foundation that's dug would need to be dug into the ground, obviously, but from the face of the garage, it slopes down to the street, and from the north side of the garage, it slopes down to the neighbor's yard. So there is no cutting, like, into a bank. There's excavation work
Yeah.
for the foundation, but there's no cutting into the bank.
Any regulations? I didn't see any.
Okay, all set?
yeah. So maybe just for catching me up on the previous, will they be able to stabilize this bank with what
Well,
we
that's
voted?
what, yeah, we're gonna have to discuss that
Okay.
next.
Yeah, that'll absolutely be discussed tonight amongst a couple other things. So just to catch you up briefly, what happened was they applied for a revetment wall rebuild. And when they applied, they got approval from the commission, and they did not have a Chapter 91 license for it, because one never existed. They have achieved both, so they have the commission approval and Chapter 91. At the top here, where this blue line is,
Yeah.
up here, there was a peer review done by Woods Hole Group, and...
Oh, they came in,
Yep, they
Oh,
came
yeah,
and presented
I got
that
it.
to see, to give their opinions on a concrete wall to be put there at the top of the bank, or a vegetated buffer at the top of the bank.
Okay, I remember that,
The
okay.
commission has not decided on what the preference is of that. I would love if that could happen tonight, but let's get through the house first, I think. And then, as well as rebuilding the revetment wall, they need access. So that's gonna be a
I
discussion.
mean, if
as
you
well.
look at the aerial photos of this place, it looks like, the monster
yes.
took a big chunk out of that.
Yeah, I mean,
That's my scientific.
the revetment had collapsed over time under the previous owners, and when that collapsed, then the whole bank started to collapse. And then the previous owner put the house up for sale, so.
And it has since March of this year, as you know, it has
Yes.
lost some more. That's for certain, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Rich?
No questions.
Okay. A couple questions I have. So there was no area calculations for the planting mitigation, since saying, okay,
Yes.
how much of the property is naturally vegetated and how much is going to be taken out and remain and so forth, so and didn't
Yes,
see any calcs on the plan.
that's something can be added, absolutely, for the commission.
Okay.
Are you looking specifically for an area that we can quantify?
Well, everything's within the 150-foot buffer, and the majority of the house is within the 75-foot buffer, so you're saying, okay, what are all the calculations of, building hardscape versus,
So the mitigation
existing versus proposed and plantings?
So the proposed mitigation, or I should say, the mitigation calculation requirement table is shown on my plan that showed, if you look in the upper right.
Yeah.
Dan, that shows what existed in each zone, what's proposed in each zone, and what the actual calculation, it's 5620. So when Mark and I worked together, when he came up with his planting plan, the new plantings, planting in the lawn areas, planting in the understory is over 6,100 square feet of plantings on his landscape plan.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see anything on the landscape plan. Sorry, I missed that on your plan.
If it pleases the commission, the plan can add that to the graphic as well, if that makes the commission clear, if it makes it clear to the commission.
Yeah, if you can put them on both plans, it'd be
Yeah.
helpful for, contractors and the commission and staff, so. The other question, I didn't see any erosion control.
So the red line,
Yeah.
our plan, it says limited work, silt fence / hay bales. I apologize, I know you don't like the silt fence, so I can adjust that and just put hay bales.
Okay, can you move that around to the, on the street side also because of the topography?
Yeah, we can run it, it would probably have been run along the street side anyways, except for
Okay,
the
yeah,
opening
if you
where the
can show
driveway
that
is,
on
but
plan,
I
that'd be
can
great.
easily fix that, that's not a problem.
Okay. Okay, so any other questions about the house, pool, and landscaping from commissioners? See none. Any comments from you, Dan, about the house part before we jump into the erosion issue?
No, everything was pretty much covered. I understand there will be about 29 trees removed, but with the amount of mitigation going in, that's going to account for all that and some.
And some.
So I just wanted to make that well known. Nitrogen loading calculations have been submitted, so we do have those as well. I know those were in my comments.
On the 12.82, I think it.
12.82 to
3.98.
3.98.
3.98, yeah.
3.98.
So it is a vast reduction in nitrogen loading for the property, that is for certain there. And then this is to the commission, moreover. If there are concerns that can't be covered tonight with any conditions for whatever determination there is, I would highly recommend that there's an in-depth discussion about demolition of the house to allow access for construction of the revetment wall. That's one thing I would highly recommend having discussion for tonight, and I would even recommend allowing that as an administrative approval, simply because there is no access from the ocean. There's just not. To build a road or to get anything from there, the amount of easements and the time that would be wasted would be more harm to the resource area as well as to the neighboring properties if there is any. So that is something I would highly recommend having a deep discussion tonight. And again, I would recommend approving that administratively just for the demolition of the house, and that would include installing limited works at that time as well. So that's it for me for now.
All right, so has the commissioners read the, talking about the erosion of the coastal bank, the Woods Hole Group peer review for this project?
Yes.
Okay. Let's discuss that first. Do we have any questions on that? Talk about first.
It seemed to me as though they were pretty much in agreement with the opinion of the commission. We had our doubts about that concrete revetment wall at the top, and they seem to agree.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm fine with what I read.
In the Woods Hole. How about you, Sandy?
Same.
Yeah. Neil?
Same.
Yeah. Shauna?
Good.
Rich? Yeah. And I agree too, and I think staff agrees also with that.
Yes, and if that is the determination of the commission, this is just for the top of the bank.
I understand what you're
Okay.
talking about.
So if the commission does agree to that, do we have permission of staff to move forward with contacting the representative and the applicant to pursue getting a plan and everything devised for the top of the bank? I just want to get a consensus for that, so we can go through with that, because that'll also help stabilize. Obviously, it can't be done till after the revetment wall's built, but getting plans drafted is going to take a little time, so that's something I would like to get started very soon. So we have a consensus on that. So Drew will be reaching out to you probably on Monday. It won't be tomorrow, so.
Not a problem.
So we will go through with that for the natural buffer, not natural buffer, but for the natural bank there for that aspect, according to the Woods Hole Group
So the
report.
revetment, we've already been approved.
The revetment is fully approved by the
Chapter
commission
91,
and the Chapter 91. So there's just a discussion about access and,
Yeah, so I believe what your board approved was the revetment and the vegetation of the slope.
Correct.
And then we requested a peer review to look at the concrete wall to see if we could come back under a potential amendment. So I'll now discuss that with my client to see what he wants to do.
no, absolutely,
But,
absolutely. Yeah.
I understand where the board's coming from as far as the concrete wall.
So the commission has direction for that. So the question right now resides into, is it appropriate with the commission to give administrative approval for demolition of the house, installation of limited work, to get access to start the revetment wall sooner than later?
The only thing I would ask is that somehow something gets written into that to say that we don't lose the right. Because once that house is demolished, this isn't approved tonight, and say it takes a little while to get approval, and then we get an administrative approval to demolish the house, and then say it came back next month, and then someone tells me, well, you don't even have a house on the property. You can't put a house there now.
I understand
And
your
I'm not a
concerns.
lawyer.
Yep. I'm not either, so I don't know the direction for that, but I do understand that concern completely. Absolutely. So,
that's the only, and I know Matt had brought this up to Drew, that we have a contractor lined up, ready to go in October. So, we were kind of hoping to move forward with this, so then there would be no issue. But if there's still concerns that we can't close in condition, then we're gonna need to come back. So that's why we kind of asked for the administrative approval. But we need to figure out a way that there's some protection to the owner
no, for the house itself.
for the house itself.
Yes.
That's if we don't do a closing issue.
Correct,
Right,
correct.
okay. Do you have to go through ZBA?
So we have filed with ZBA, so it will go before ZBA, that is correct.
Okay, when is that hearing?
It hasn't been scheduled yet. I just filed the application today, so the next available hearing will have.
Okay, so will the building commissioner not grant a demo permit without going through ZBA?
So I think if this was closed and approved, we could sit down and talk with the building commissioner, with Drew, with Daniel, and explain the situation to him.
Okay.
So I think that would be, I don't see why he wouldn't approve that
Okay,
for the stability of that bank and the protection to the neighboring properties.
okay, just want to look at all the
Yeah,
issues.
no, I understand.
Sure, yeah. Okay.
Actually, I could just ask, so Daniel, you're saying as far as to gain access down to the water, you're looking for some sort of construction methodology, the demo of the house, and then have access down there, or looking?
Construction methodology, not as much, because they already have an idea of what they need to do. They just can't get the equipment in there right now.
Okay.
Because of the house is in the way, and there's not enough access on the side
So the house
at
has
all.
to come down, and,
Yeah,
okay.
unfortunately.
Okay.
Tough situation. In that case, everything you brought up, I would recommend discussing the house right now for that permit to see if it can be conditioned tonight, or to see if there is a set punch list to have it come back at the next hearing, next available hearing that you're available, to roughly have it approved by then. Basically is what it is, because I understand that concern, and that is a legit concern, especially for a property of this stature, with all the revetments and everything going in on the property being proposed, so.
Let's see
This
where,
is an interesting one, right? Because your ask is absolutely fair, right? Don't take down the house, and our big concern is that bank's gonna be stable enough to keep the house here, so we kind of have this circular conundrum going on.
Yeah.
That we just gotta figure out
And-
how to.
and As an agent, my biggest concern is that if that bank stays that way any longer than it has to, that there will be a lot more damage to the resource areas, and there are multiple resource areas on site. And that is a concern that we have because of sediment loading, because of loss of sediment on the bank as well, which is going to mean you have to bring more fill in than is already required. So that's a concern of ours as well.
I have a question. If let's say the house gets built, and that bank erodes again, not erodes, but just gets washed out again, then they're going to be replenishing with sand again, correct?
They would have to come back for a notice of intent for that
Right.
replenishment.
But how will they get trucks in there to put the sand back in
At that point,
if
if
it
the
can't come
bank,
from the water?
if the bank's not stabilized, obviously with the restoration of the bank, they would have, there is contracts for monitoring for that. So but if that were to happen, they would have to apply for sand nourishment, and at that point, they would have to bring it in with a smaller vehicle around the side of the house if there's even access, or the other option would be to have to bring a boat in with some sort of barge or something on it to essentially reach up the bank to dump the sand on it. Yeah,
What
so.
do you do in wheelbarrows?
It's a tough one. It
Yeah.
is very tough, but there is the risk to the resource areas on site, as well as risk to the existing house on site, as well as risk to the neighboring properties who
No,
have already been impacted. So
I understand all that, I'm just saying it seems,
it's a catch-22, I'll
Yeah.
admit. It's a tough one. I don't want to say there's a perfect solution to it at all, so,
No.
yeah.
So I have another question, and it's just going to sound like I'm the voice of doom, but does the town, or do we, or the town, have policy or procedures in the event this house ends up in the Atlantic Ocean? Who's responsible for cleanup, et cetera, et cetera?
That I'm not 100% sure about. I could check with Chatham and Nantucket on that, because I know they ran into that. I'm just not 100% sure, so I don't want to
But you
overspeak.
don't, to your knowledge, Mashpee doesn't have,
In conservation, in our bylaws, and in the Wetlands Protection Act, there's no
nothing,
direct
right?
direction,
would that
direct
be
direction for
the
that.
board of the building,
Building
the
commission.
building commission's purview?
It would be building commissioner, most definitely, because there would have to be a demolition
Is-
cleanup.
Is that something we could condition, that the owner would be responsible for cleanup in the event that this,
I don't know.
okay.
That I can't say for certain without getting guidance from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
To go to legal counsel for something like
Yeah,
that.
I would have to definitely check. I know, for instance, in, I want to say it was Wellfleet or Brewster, I can't remember which one, but there was a house that its deck collapsed onto the beach below. The beach was owned by the town, the bank was owned by the private homeowner, and the private homeowner was not at the onus to clean it up because it landed on town property. So I do know that occurred, I just don't know the legalities about it at all.
Okay. Any other questions from commissioners?
There were no waiver requests at all for regulatory relief?
Not for this. No, the only waiver would be for the 25-foot setback from the coastal bank, which, if need be, that, I believe, that could be a condition if the applicant's amendable to that. So,
For a waiver request?
Right.
So Drew just got back to me on that question.
Okay.
He said that the owner would be responsible for cleanup in that case.
My risk management background's going into overdrive.
Is that something to stop this, or is it,
Well,
We-
I'm reading Regulation 16 on coastal banks, so I'm a little concerned about the adverse effect of a swimming pool 30 feet from a coastal bank that's presently eroding. Hopefully, it'll be corrected,
how long will it stay?
but how
Right.
long, that's
we said it was, what, 30 odd feet from the coastal bank?
30 feet.
30 feet.
I mean, pretty much
Yeah, if
every
it's-
single property on Triton Dive
Yeah.
has a swimming pool.
But if this is 30 feet, then they wouldn't need a waiver for any setback from that.
Yeah.
It would just be, there would be no waiver for the coastal bank. Because if they're over 25 feet away, then there just wouldn't be a waiver required. Yeah.
5 feet.
Any other questions, concerns? I know it's a tough situation with that bank eroding, so I think that's the priority, is
Yeah.
take care of that bank, because I think
Absolutely.
it's starting to affect the abutters too, so.
Yes, I will say the abutters on both sides have reached out to Drew. The depth of the conversation, I'm not 100% of what it was discussed, but I do know they reached out with concerns over their own private properties.
Right.
So, yeah.
I wasn't out of the car 5 minutes, and the abutters were right there.
Yeah, I would imagine,
And
yeah.
it's very scary standing on the edge of that bank.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, any comments from the audience? Yeah, come on up, sir, and get in front of the microphone, state your name and address.
George List, 41 Triton Way. I've watched the property disappear for 25 years. Is the house going to be constructed at the level of the ground or at the street level?
Higher, George.
The higher of the two?
Yeah, pretty much where it is.
Okay. And is the garage at the same height of the house? or-
Yes.
Because that's a good slope going to that side, where it drops off towards the Griswold's house.
To the left.
Garfield's, yes, to the left, looking at it.
Essentially,
Yeah, that's why we request an additional erosion control
Yeah,
along that side.
To gain access to that bluff is pretty tough, as you well know, going through. My concern, I'm on the other side of the street, so if I'm oceanfront some years, I am, that's the way it is. But I don't think that should happen. I think there's never been a revetment there. There's only been large boulders that were at the bottom of that hill. The Octons never chose to build a revetment when the revetments were built. And the abutting neighbors at the time all knew that. And my concern really is that they stabilize the bluff and that we're gonna lose 20, 30 trees over there. And there'll be enough mitigation to take care of the runoff and how, I don't believe there's 30 feet from the end of that deck to the top of the bluff. I was there yesterday. And from the back, I don't know what the distance is from the house to the end of the existing deck. It's probably 20 feet, 20, something like that. About 20, 22 maybe. There can't be 6 feet from the end of the deck to the top of the bluff now because that large pine tree just fell over. 3 more trees went down. It needs to be repaired and keep the community and the neighborhood
Safe.
as nice as it is. And just have a concern for the environmental impact, and the swimming pool is a good question also. And I understand the owner's desire to have a beautiful house there and to build what he has. What's the, do you know the height of the peak of the house from the existing ground level? I'm sorry,
It's a little under 30 feet.
Under 30 feet. Okay,
from the ground level?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, just concerns for the existing property and that the property somehow is, when the revetment is built, and the hill itself, how much can be reclaimed from the top of the bluff now?
The plan of record right here is to have this blue dotted line where the mouse runs across, to have it, I believe, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but have it line up with the solid brighter blue line.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's where the bank ran before everything
Let go.
let go. Correct.
And the existing revetments to the east and west of it, where are they from the blue line?
If you keep down.
Down,
correct,
okay,
down
that's the
bottom.
riprap down there, okay, all right.
Yeah, so there's quite the distance from the top of that bank to the bottom, and the revetment is not going all the way up. They're going to match the contours and everything with existing,
The
from the
revetment
neighbors.
will match the revetments that are there,
Correct, yes.
okay.
Yeah,
And okay.
yeah.
I just wanted to have a pretty good idea what was going on and have my concern is really just for the impact on what's, the ground that's still there and the area that's there, the trees, the location in the neighborhood and everything, so, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, just for a procedural question, so, okay, so we can have a motion for a close an issue with conditions.
100%, yeah.
All right, so, from the peer review, we all agree on that. So the applicant will have to come back to the commission with the amended order of conditions, or?
They can
or
come
do-
back with an amended order, or they can go through, and I know you have to discuss with your client as well, that's for certain. But for the natural bank there, they would have to draft a plan, so they could come back with an amended order, or you could add that to the file of the notice of intent that was already approved, and then the commission could review it, staff could review it, one of the two or both, and then they can go through with conducting it from there if they wanted. Or you can have them come back with an amended order for the top of the bank. So it's just commission discretion on that. Yeah.
Okay. What do commissioners feel about that subject before we have a motion? To either have the applicant come back with amended order of conditions with that for the whole natural vegetation part of it, or just have it submitted to staff and then staff share with us?
So
Everybody's
just,
opinion.
so, because it's, to me, it's a little confusing. So if we close an issue tonight, are we closing an issue on the raise,
house
replace, just the house only?
Just the house only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the
bank-
conditions that we, the hay bales and all the other stuff, and then
Right.
the revetment wall is totally different.
So, but we, as agents, we would definitely recommend a admin approval for the top of the bank with commission review, just to expedite things because of the condition of the bank.
Instead of having
Yeah,
an
because
amended order.
once they, however they get machinery, once they get machinery in there, obviously the machinery is gonna have some deterioration on the bank. They're gonna have to bring some fill in for it as well. So there will be having to be doing some remaking and rebuilding there of the bank itself, once they get the machinery off. And that's when they would go through with the native bank, for that, so, yeah, just to keep everything copacetic, I would, as an agent, definitely recommend doing that as administrative approval, through the commission, just to expedite the process, because an amended order is gonna get back into a butters notifications and get back into a time frame that is more of a longer time. So, but again, commission discretion.
The commission is fine with that? To expedite everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm good.
Expediting is important, I think, on this one.
And this is a case by case. This is a very unique case and quite honestly, a extreme situation that needs attention. So the fact that they already got their Chapter 91 is a huge thing, because those, I will say directly, from my experience, takes much longer than the time they took to get theirs. I will say that outright, so.
Okay.
And we can condition, as we think about the house and this plan with the pool, we can condition the pool can only go in on the event that they get the 25 feet to the bank,
The top of the new bank.
to the new bank,
Yeah.
right? So we can kind of,
You can condition
we
that.
can walk, we can tighten that up, right?
Yes, yes. And just to clarify, is this a saltwater pool or?
It'll be a saltwater pool.
Saltwater, okay.
Also, can you tell me what type of pavers are going around that pool?
It's pervious pavers.
And Dan, my favorite question, scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the bank's going to be the best bank that's ever been, and it's going to withstand the next 35 years of hurricane, Cat 4 hurricanes, to the bank getting this bank back healthy.
I will say from my experience with a smaller bank, when I first started, that was eroded like this because of an illegal cutting, it was stabilized within the month.
Okay.
They put down some burlap to stabilize the bank, and then they plant right through that. So
That original proposal was to redo the riprap, regrade the slope, put down the jute matting, the erosion control netting, and then plant it right away.
So we're very
That,
confident.
that's what was
Yeah.
approved by this board already.
From my experience, that holds very well. I've seen it hold in severe storms already the past 2 winters in the other location, so I feel confident with it.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we have a motion for 34 Triton Way?
I'll give it a whirl, but
We might need to take a couple runs
you're
with
going to have
this.
to amend this, but make a motion to close an issue at 34 Triton Way with the following conditions. A detailed mitigation planting plan, hay bales that go around to the street side, and also a 3-year monitoring plan for the mitigation, and what Shauna had just mentioned, being able to install the pool only if they have 25 feet from the coastal bank,
The reconstructed coastal bank.
the reconstructed coastal bank.
Okay. Do we want to put in on the motion saying that the commission requesting to follow the peer review recommendations? That
No, we're going to leave that to the past permit.
past permit?
Yeah, this one
Okay.
doesn't have anything to do with it. We
That-
just were
okay,
able to
so-
bring it up because we were talking about 34
Okay,
Triton.
so that's on
Yeah.
the past
Yeah,
permit.
that's in the past
Okay.
one. So Drew will reach out to you.
Not a problem.
Okay. I think that covers everything that we talked about for the house. I don't think there's anything else beyond those conditions.
Yeah, that's really it. And then the driveway is going to be porous, I believe.
I think it's paved,
Pavers. Porous pavers.
pervious pavers.
Okay, pavers. That's all I need to hear.
I'll make sure that it says that on the plan that you get.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Okay, I think that's, motion's all set. Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. Go for roll call vote. Sandy?
Yes.
Paul?
No.
Okay, Rich?
Yes.
And I vote yes, too.
So the motion passes. Drew will be in touch with you directly.
Thank you for your time. All right. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
You as well.
Okay. Next item we have is 2 COCs. The first one is 21 Metacomet Road, NJCJ LLC. Proposed pier modification. Representative is Falmouth Engineering, EP number 433219.
Yep. I did the inspections today. They were not, I did not put past or anything on it because I literally did them 2 hours before the meeting. Both, this inspection did pass. There was no issues
What are you
whatsoever.
sitting around doing your nails and eating bonbons?
My daughter was, so, yeah.
Okay, so paperwork, we just have to come in and, you have paperwork to sign to see?
Oh, yeah, I got
We gotta
everything.
come back?
Nope, I got everything.
Everything.
Oh, yeah, I prepped it just in case. It was a long day, so.
Okay. It
Drew,
sounds
you know
like
I
it.
was only joking, right?
Okay,
No,
so do
no,
we have a
good.
motion
You know?
for, to
I'm a
approve
dude,
the
don't worry.
COC at 21 Metacomet Road?
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded, roll call vote, Sandy?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Next COC is 58 Cayuga Avenue, Charles and Ellen Home, mitigation, Representative Horsley Winton Group, Inc., and DP number 433171.
Same here. This one passed. The mitigation actually looks fantastic along the water. I will say that. So everything on this project was good.
Okay, great. Do you have a motion for approve the COC for 58 Cayuga Avenue?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded, roll call vote, Sandy?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
And I vote yes. All right, so going back to the pre and post hearing agenda, we have no draft minutes to approve. Under discussions, first item, water quality. Anything for water quality? No, okay. Submittal requirements, update?
I do not have an update on that right now. I
Okay.
apologize wholeheartedly. Next hearing, I definitely will.
Okay.
So,
Regulation 30 consensus.
Yes, so there was discussion started by the commission at one of the past hearings about limit on the parts per million number. Right now, we are at 18?
19. is
19,
the
I'm sorry,
maximum.
19.
Right.
And there was a discussion about lowering that because of the urgency in town for water quality and the urgency for ensuring that, you know, representatives are putting the best possible technology in these to lower the parts per million. So that's why that's on the agenda tonight. So you can have a discussion, or you can have a consensus about it, or you can hold off till all the commissioners are here. Completely up to you.
What's everybody's thoughts on this one?
Well, I'll begin. In the existing Regulation 30C, there is a sliding amount of acceptable parts per million of anywhere from 5 to 18. So 19 is the set standard, but if you have impaired waters, which we do, the commission, based on the regulatory language that we already have, can decide amongst themselves on a case-by-case basis what is the distance to this impaired water body, and how low do we feel as a commission it should go. You could actually put together some kind of a sliding scale, but I don't know if it would be appropriate on a case-by-case basis. But I think, or I know, we need to start looking a lot more closely at proposals that come before us that are extremely close to an open source of water that's impaired. I'm thinking along Secaucet and Monomoskoye and parts of Pompanesett, where you're right on top of the water, and some people come in with septic tanks that, I know in the nitrogen calculations, the end number is what it is, but that's not what's going into the groundwater from those diffusers of the effluent that's coming out. And, you know, we're using that Cape Cod Commission nitrogen calculation sheet. Given a little more time and thought, maybe we should come up with one that's a little more appropriate. This idea that each household only has 2.5 people living in it, because that's the standard across the entire Cape, and we come along and condition a septic tank for 4 bedrooms, well, that's given a permit for 8 people, not 2.5. The nitrogen calculations are based on 2.5 people, but then all of a sudden, you've got up to 8 people legally in a home. Summer crowd, you could even have more, who knows. So I really think we have to start looking closely at some proposals that are very close to the water and lowering that 19 number down. But again, I can't come up with a straight number, but we do have that scale, 5 to 18, and I think we should start using it. It's my own feeling.
How do you, you're saying there's no way to measure the actual effluent that comes out. How do you actually measure that to try to get that nitrogen calculation lower, to get accurate numbers? Like, the engineers come back and say, okay, it's going from 19 parts per million to 14 parts per million, but you're saying that's not an accurate number?
That is an accurate number for the entire lot, but it is not an accurate number for the effluent that's coming out of the bottom of those diffusers. When you look at the nitrogen calculations, if you look at the very first level where they show the actual flow of the Title V system and the liters per day, you calculate, we have one tonight, and I believe the number at the end was 14 point something. But on that particular system, I had it right on my calculator, it's 35 parts per million coming out of that effluent that's going into the groundwater. And I know the sheets do take into consideration all the recharge, but nothing is recharging that effluent when in some cases it's not even 5 feet above groundwater. We had one tonight that was 3 feet, and I know it's a special system, I get that, and I voted yes on that because I was intrigued with that system. But other systems are not. You know, other systems aren't. They're straight diffusers, and they're dumping that water in. It's coarse to medium sand, which is less than 2 minutes an inch. And that's a phrase that's just consistently used by engineers. I used to do septic system tests when I was a kid. You stop at 2 minutes an inch, but some of that water is going down at 1 minute an inch or less. So you know, we're looking at a number that I think is smoke and mirrors when you get to the very end of that nitrogen calculation sheet. It's true, it's for the whole lot, but it's not true for the effluent that's going from that diffuser through that sand and into that groundwater. And if it's right next to an impaired water body, I think it behooves this commission to start looking very carefully at those and saying, what is the actual parts per million that's coming out of that tank? Not what's coming off the lot, what's coming off the tank, because that's what's pouring into the groundwater. So, and I can't come up with a number, because I think you have to look at every lot as an individual case. You know, some are going to be sloped one way or another. You got certain distances that the proposal would be from the impaired water body. So I think we have to start looking at them one by one.
No, the calculation, that's from the Cape Cod Commission.
Yes. That dates back to one of their technical bulletins, 2017. And everybody's using it, but they're not exact figures. I mean, none of these houses that we're conditioning have 2.5 people living in them.
Right.
I mean,
Drive
come
through
on.
New Seabury on any given weekend, and there's 12 cars. I've never seen so many cars, and I walk that every day.
Yeah.
And that's I don't go, I'm obviously not down there as much, but do you take into account that June, July, and August, there's
Well,
6, and then you have 9 months out of the year?
How do you know 9? No, sometimes they're
I-
over the
You
holidays.
don't, but I'm like, we sit and we say we want to do a case-by-case basis, but I guess you have to look at the big picture, because a lot of these developments are seasonal, so they're not putting the load on for 9 months out of the year, but for 3 months, they might have 12 people. I don't know how you,
I mean, I have a 3-bedroom house, and it's me and my husband, except for the 3 weekends my kids come and the holidays.
Right, but
Yeah.
but you can't, but that's
Yeah.
you for now. Somebody moves in.
Yeah,
could
no,
do
no,
that.
yeah,
So
I
I think
get
what
that.
Paul's saying is we
But yeah,
need to find a number that we just use, regardless of whether it's seasonal or it's not
is that number attainable?
that's what we
And then
have to-
how do you say to the engineers coming in, now we're telling them, we want you to come
Well-
in with a nitrogen load.
Well, there was
Now
one
it's a
tonight.
case-by-case basis, so how do you, I guess, make it, I'm not, fair isn't the right word, but how do you make that a number that they can come in and hit?
You have to have a formula for somebody to follow, to be able to stand a shot of being able
Right.
to present to us. And if our documentation is done well, then anybody that has expertise in this should be able to come in and explain to us how they meet the standard or not.
Does it make sense to go back to the Cape Cod Commission and say, you know, look at, okay, you guys came out with this form 8 years ago. Can we fine tune it to narrow it down to whatever's coming out of the SAS to see, is there a formula for that? Since they set up this whole other formula, they might have some better insight on it that way.
It's either that or you need to make a Mashpee-specific formula. We have to establish our formula outside of the Cape Cod Commission.
And then does it leave us open to litigation? Because if we're putting something that's, maybe it's not, I mean, I don't know enough about septic systems to say, is it an attainable number? And if it's not an attainable number, like,
Well, we have to stay within our regulation, which is a slight, right? Which
We
is
have the regulation.
right. And it was 5 is the lowest, correct?
5 is the lowest.
And we had one tonight that was just above 5, so the technology's there.
And
think-
and the one that was short, I mean, the one on Bayview, that they increased that from a 1 to a 4-bedroom and still came in
Right.
Right.
under existing
Right.
calculations.
They were at 11 something
Yeah.
for the
Right.
final, yeah.
Is this something, and this is, and so do we have, is this something that we could bring in the engineers to help us work through this from our, is that inbounds in our regulatory remit that we could actually bring in like a focus group of engineers to help us figure out what the right formula is?
I would suggest, if he was willing to come in, that we have Brian Horsley from Aztec come in at our next quarterly meeting to discuss exactly where they are with these IA systems, how better are they than they were a year ago? What's going to be coming up within the next 6 months to a year? They probably have the best handle on everything that's going on.
Who was he with?
Brian Horsley, that's up at the Joint Base, the Maztec
okay.
Septic Testing Center.
I think if we get a little more information and say, okay, can we define what's coming out of that SAS into the groundwater? That might help us out. But right now, we're kind of bound by, okay, that whole calculation in Regulation 30, and saying, okay, these guys are meeting everything, so we can't really ask them to change something that we have no background or no information on. But I think maybe over time, if we can gather some info and go back in and have the bylaw subcommittee change Regulation 30, then it might work at that point, because then we have something technical, we can.
Yeah, we'd have the literature then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, like you said, I agree with you, Paul, the number's higher coming out of that SAS into
Absolutely.
the groundwater.
You can see it right in the figures.
Yeah, so saying, okay, well, let's see if we can get that number lower to help out all the rivers and embayments and ponds.
and if we want to say it's 2 people per bedroom, and, that's the way we're going to look at it, and that's the way we're going to look at every application that comes in front of us, I think that, there's a kind of a practical formulaic process, and as long as whatever our numbers are, there's enough commercially available systems out there to be able to meet our thresholds, then I don't see why we shouldn't do that. I just, I get a little nervous, probably on the opposite of it, is if we do too much on a case-by-case, you end up, I think, causing a lot of friction, and I know, some people don't like to hear this about the people presenting, but that's where you end up with, send lawyers guns and money, to quote Warren Zevon, ends up happening.
Yeah.
How
That's
about,
like, just going from, we were going from, to the notice intents for the sub, we can't go halfway through and then do a 180 and go somewhere. I think we need to be consistent with it, and doing it case by case is, someone comes up and we say no, but then the next applicant comes in and we say yes, so now he's gonna, well, why was I rejected, or why was I denied? And that's, I don't know, case by case is the right thing.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of logic, and I think a caring, reasonable person that's rebuilding or building next to a waterway that's very degraded would understand why you're putting them at a slightly higher standard than, someplace else in the town.
so I
It's the
think,
privilege of living on the water, and you're hoping that you're protecting the water because that's protecting your asset.
I think in this case, would it be amendable to the commission if I reached out to Brian Horsley to see if he can schedule a presentation? As well as I'll reach out to the Cape Cod Commission and the Cape Cod Agent Network to see if, one, they've encountered anything like this, if they're aware of any options or even literature, because it sounds like what we need right now is data gathering and literature gathering. So no matter what happens, we have it backed up.
Upstream or upstream.
Yeah. So would it be amendable if I reached out to those three things and start getting that going?
When's our next quarterly?
That's a tough question.
Isn't it right before Thanksgiving?
I want to say it was around
Yeah.
Thanksgiving
I think-
sometimes. I just don't know the exact date.
I can find it in a second.
All
I
right.
just meant that might have more time than a regular meeting.
Didn't have it here. so-
Sorry if we, 2-minute
I don't have
recess,
No, wait a minute, I get the schedule right here.
I know, with you.
Mr. Chair.
Mr.
Beat you
Chair,
to it.
Can we just take
November
a 2-minute
14th.
recess?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Oh, no, it's the
All in
public hearing.
favor? Aye.
There we go. Okay. I was going to say,
November 20th,
20th?
November
20th.
20th, yeah.
yeah, 6:30,
All right, so I'll reach out to
I have a rate.
right before the turkeys come flying around.
It's the right question, Paul.
We've got the regulation.
Yeah.
I think we should be using it. Dan, if Brian is willing to come, you might want to send him Reg 30 and have him kind of focus on,
Oh, yeah.
C, so he knows what we're dealing with.
Yeah. I was going to say, whoever, I'm going to send it to the Cape Cod Commission, I believe, is aware, but the agent network, I know, I'm going to send it to them because when I talk regulations with them, a lot of them are very impressed about Mashpee's strictness on regulations and amount that we have to ensure water quality and to ensure a whole slew of things. So they are starting to look into adopting some of them. So it's kind of nice to see. Yeah.
You know what's kind of sad? Is all the places that need sewering the most are not getting it in the town.
Well, there's so much that
Yeah.
goes into establishing what you can and can't do. You know, lift stations and gravity feeds and miles of pipe, and it's a tough job that we've taken on. We've done really well.
No, I think that I'm really pleased with what the town's done, but, and you're absolutely right. I mean, you think about
Yeah.
Pompanesett with the ups and downs, and, I mean, laying sewer pipe in there would be,
In some areas in town, you cannot get to without going through another town, which is an unfortunate reality.
Right.
So.
You know, it was only a few years ago, we would have, in fact, one of the engineers was here tonight, and I asked him point blank, why aren't you putting an IA system in? He says, because I don't have to. So that's how far we've come. I mean, with the Board of Health regulations, 1,000 feet from water, and what we've put together with Regulation 30, now they do have to. So we're making progress. The water isn't. You know, the water is still as brown can be. So if we can do a little bit more with existing regulations, I think we should.
Yeah.
Here comes the secretary.
So, make a motion to reopen the hearing?
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
Yeah, okay, all in favor? Aye.
Yes.
Okay. Next item, New England Mountain Bike Association public comment consideration. So we requested a notice of intent filing because of the coastal bank and amount of disturbance, so forth, and they came back and they said they don't have the resources for it, and they didn't want to do that, so we can talk about what we'd like to do as a commission.
Yep, this is on the agenda simply because they had public comment directly requesting reconsideration.
Follow up, yeah.
I have a thought. Having attended my first Community Preservation Committee meeting this week, November 7th is the deadline for applications. One of their 3 tenants is open spaces. Why don't we ask the mountain bikers to apply for funding through CPC to do the NOI? Applications have to be in November 7th.
I don't know all the regulations. Sandy, you've been on that for a while for CPC. I know they had these containers. They have affordable housing, open space, recreation. And then.
This would fall, I guess.
All in 2, right? Open space,
Yeah.
it's open space and
recreation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might fall into that container.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Well, you know, I listened to what he had to say at the last meeting, and, you know, I feel bad that they don't have the resources, but I also look at the regulatory language, and it's not an RDA. It just isn't. If you have, as an individual commissioner, if you have any concerns about an adverse effect to the resource area, I was there. You guys are out there. It's just, you can see it. You can see where it's going, and the bank's right there. It's just, it's not an RDA. And I know NOIs are expensive. It's the nature of the beast. But I don't see how we as a commission can do otherwise. But that's a great suggestion. You know, maybe they can get some funding. Is there a way to come up with a baseline figure as to what it would cost to do an NOI on something like that? Because they may want to know.
I could give them literature. I can give them past projects that, obviously, there's none that are familiar, that are exact, but I can give them past projects that are more relative to that, to see where the cost lands on that.
Sure.
As well as, you know, part of that would be, as I tell every applicant, shop around We have a large consultant list.
Yep.
And all consultants are not, they are all different for everything, so.
Yeah, it'd be several $1,000s, just based on my experience dealing with,
Yeah.
some intent filings. some
Yeah, they
comments
will
and so
need to
forth.
know that for the application, too.
Yeah, so, yeah, they'd have to go get pricing from a engineering firm and survey and so forth, so.
Can CPC be used for permitting?
I was just thinking that, I don't know. I don't think we've ever,
I don't think they're allowed to.
yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
could they use whatever money they're using to build the platform? They were doing that on their own.
Yep.
Could they just flip it? I wonder, use,
They could, I know that money was a donation with a set time frame that they have to use it in. I don't know what the time frame
Okay.
is. I just know that it had a set
well,
time frame.
it's an
so.
option. I mean,
Yeah,
if they can
absolutely.
figure that.
Yeah, just go back to them and say, okay, let's check with CPC.
Do you want me to ask Arlen or anything about?
I'll reach out, let me reach out to New England Mountain Bike first.
Okay.
To see if they're interested.
Okay.
Because if they're not interested in
Okay.
pursuing that, simply because in my head, they might not have their funding by
Okay.
the end of the year. I just don't
Okay.
know. So
Okay.
let me reach out to them and check.
And Dan, if they seem interested, I'd be happy to run point with
All right.
the CPC to answer any of the technical questions to firm it up. Is it a logical avenue for them to pursue?
Okay. All right.
I'll do that legwork.
So I know that the plan would cost the most. The permitting cost is minimal.
Yeah.
Is minimal compared to the plan.
But we have the right to waive,
Not the state fee.
not the state fee, okay.
Yeah, we can absolutely waive the
Waive the-
bylaw fee
okay.
if you wish, but not the state fee. Yeah. So,
Sounds good.
On that topic too, I'm going a little off agenda, so apologies, Mr. Chairman. But around the November 7th deadline, we talked about that piece of property that was for sale on the Mashpee River. See, they asked me about, because somebody was here at that meeting when we talked about that property, if we were interested in putting forth to
Oh,
get
the one
funding
that-
to buy that.
The one
I
that,
think Drew answered that question, saying that the owner of the property
it has to say, yeah.
yeah, the owner of
they-
the property would have to file for a CPC application, but I would highly recommend that we hold off on discussions
Okay,
about that property
okay.
this time. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Moving on, next item is associate member to full-time commissioner, so Shauna.
All right.
So we can interview you, ask questions,
So in your binders, there should be Select Board Policy 001 form, so the interview form is in there. Oh, there we have it. So just so everyone knows, we have to officially interview Shauna to go from associate to full-time. And please pass them in tonight. Once I collect those, I am passing them in tomorrow to Town Manager's office. At the next Select Board meeting, you will have to attend, whenever that is. They will be doing Marjorie's down to associate member, and then right after that, they will be looking at they will interview you directly for upgrade to full-time member. So that's how it would go. Yeah.
A quick question, as a associate member, do I
Yes,
weigh in
please.
on this?
Yes, all commissioners can fill in on it, yeah.
Why do you want to be a full-time member?
Why do I want to be a... That's a good question. Kind of feels a little, like if I had another 6 months, I'd probably feel better about this, because I think the thing that's been surprising is the technical depth that you need to be really good at this. I think it's just my nature to take on more, to have the say to actually influence and drive the outcomes for the good of the resource area is what makes me want to have that vote.
Okay.
Is it what you thought it would be to this date?
Some of it, yes, and some of it, no. And I think what has surprised me is the breadth of subject matter. Some of it being very, very technical, and some of it kind of I'm kind of feeling like I'm kind of understanding the process now, which, as soon as you understand the process, I feel like you can contribute more to the discussion and things like that. The regulations are still, I still feel like, in the kitty end of the pool when it comes to the regulations, and things like, that the discussion like on the bank and revetments and septic systems, like, I don't think, that to me is years of, study and things like that to do it. So I think that kind of component and the need for that kind of technical expertise is what surprised me the most. The rest, I'm kind of just now feeling like I can go out on a site visit and not be like, like I could actually look at the property and kind of have an opinion about where things are going and what should do. And I can remember the first couple of times I walked out on a property, it's like, oh, this is a beautiful house, this is nice, and just feeling totally like a little lamb lost in the woods a little bit, but I kind of rambled on that, Rich, so did I answer
It's all
your
right,
question?
I get it.
I'm enjoying it.
Good.
I find it very intellectually challenging. I think the board, not to stroke everybody's ego, but I think there's a lot of expertise and everybody has different strengths, and I think I've always been good about listening to people and being able to sort that out. I mean, my last job, I had a lot of VPs that worked for me that would come to me with a problem, and I'd be like a panic saying, oh God, you're the expert on this, and you're gonna ask me to help you solve this problem. And, some of it's just asking the question and kind of being that, psychiatrist, kind of just asking the next question to suss out what the right direction is. So I think I'm pretty good at that, to be able to come up with a balanced approach or take in information and that kind of stuff. So I'll get better as I get smarter.
Yeah, it takes time.
It takes
to
time,
learn,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I like that as an associate member, you have attended, I think, every meeting. You might have missed one, but two. Okay, so you attend majority of meetings, and you did a lot better than me. When I was associate member, I might have attended 2 or 3 per year. But yeah, that has impressed me. And same with Neil too. Neil's here from most meetings too. So, as associate members, I applaud you guys. I think you're doing very well. So.
Thank you.
And I'll say it again, you did better than me.
Sean, one of the questions I asked when you came before us to join the commission was spending some of your time, not your money, but your time, and taking courses from MACC. And I don't know, because I haven't talked with you about courses, if you've taken any yet.
Yep, so I've got my 5 100 courses under my belt, so I've done
great.
that. And I've got
Great.
my 2 200 courses scheduled between now and the end of the year. So I should be certified by
you'll be
MACC if I've read their certification requirements correctly by the end of the year. And I also just signed up to attend their fall meeting out in Devers, so.
You get to go to the graduation?
Huh?
There's a graduation as well?
Is there?
There is.
There is?
It's like a little
I got
get-together
one
thing.
more. I'll have
Yeah, yeah.
one. I'm signing up for my last one.
Yeah.
You have 2 more.
They'll announce it sometime. They usually do.
You could have a party.
I can't think of anything else.
No, any other questions? Good. Okay, so we conducted your interview. We will submit the forms.
I'll take them. Real quick, Drew just got back to me about the CPC. So he did look it up. The CPC funding cannot be used for any permitting, anything of plans or anything of that nature. So I guess that would not be an option,
Okay.
unfortunately. So,
Well, unless they could use the money that was given to them for that.
I'm gonna check with them on
Yeah,
that, to
that would be
see
the-
where they're at with that. So, yeah, I'll check them.
Okay, and our last item under discussion is 89 Bluff Ave, issuance of the order conditions. Order condition has been drafted and decision must be made to issue a determination by September 25th.
Correct.
So, and they did provide the waiver request that we had asked for.
Yep.
I think that was,
They mailed in the waiver request. That was the only item pending that was requested from the commission. They sent that in, and it's been submitted to everyone, so. Yeah, and the order of conditions has been sent out for review by everyone as well. So, yeah, tonight's just, one, are you comfortable with everything as a commission? And then to have a vote on that.
okay, so, is there any discussion on 89 Bluff Avenue order of conditions?
Just wanted to look at that.
Yeah, I went back out there and looked at, I was looking at 28, the next street over too. And I was looking at that, both properties and everything. There was a height difference there now, a little bit. You know, there's a lot of shrubbery that's between the two. Will probably go away with the wall build, but I was looking at how in a flood event, when the water rises, the dune is higher on Wilson's Grove, and then it kind of matches at the end of Bluff. So when that water comes up, most of the water is going to come down the street or come around the houses, between the houses and their backyards. It's because it's going to flow down. When it hits the houses, it's going to divert and through those things. So in Bluff, you know, to me, it was, you know, because it was a little higher, is you're not going to get as much flow when you come in. It depends on the, you know, storm surge and so forth. But definitely on the back of Wilson's Grove, it's going to come up over the hill, and it's just going to, it's all lower on Wilson's Grove. So that backyard between Wilson's Grove and Bluff where that wall will be, it's going to come around that house that's between 89 Bluff and the water, and it's going to flow around and hit that wall and keep flowing around those things. You know, and then once the level rises, it's going to come up and just go straight across. So, you know, for what they're proposing in the house and everything, you know, I think, you know, the order conditions look good to me. So that's my 2 cents worth on that. Yeah, because you see the number 93 there.
Yeah. Yeah, it has that 8-foot elevation right
Yeah.
there, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it goes to, yeah, then it goes to, yeah, is that 9 or 6? That's a 6.
That's a 6,
8.
yep.
Yeah, it goes.
And it goes back down to 6, and it goes to
then
8,
goes back
right
up to
back
8
at-
there, yeah. So. Yeah. I think that'd be one less house that will be damaged in a storm event, because it will be elevated and open underneath, so.
Correct.
Did we have a condition on that for cutouts in the slab underneath? We did, and they complied with that.
Yeah.
And how many do we have, Steve? 4?
I think there was 4.
Yeah. Yeah, there was 4 for 89 Bluff, I believe.
Okay.
You were putting that up on piers.
Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
That's good. It's so close to the coastal A. I know it's not in the coastal A, but it's really close to it.
Oh, it is
Close
close,
to the
yeah.
D zone, so you say, you know, storm surges, they don't care about a line on
Yeah,
it.
stop right there.
No,
Stop right
pay no
there.
attention.
They're just going to keep on flowing through. You know.
They don't look it up before they come in.
Yeah, my map doesn't show it.
And this area, when you pull this up on the Morris data viewer, woof, it's
Yeah,
in a precarious spot.
yeah.
That whole Wilson's Grove is very low,
Oh, that whole area,
yeah.
all the streets. Okay. So no, everybody's good with it? Okay.
Yep, yep.
So do we have a motion? No, is it a close an issue still? Motion or a motion to accept the order and conditions?
We had closed to
You closed the
deliver.
public
Okay, So
hearing.
it'd just be an issue of order and
So
conditions.
it'd be issue of order of conditions, and again, we'll have 7 days to get it out. We will absolutely have it out before next Thursday. That's not a concern at all.
All right, so we have a motion to issue the order of conditions for 89 Bluff Avenue.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote. Sandy?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
And I vote yes, too. All right. The updates, I guess, anything pressing there, or we can wait till November?
I'll just give one update on pretty much every river system in town. Every pond's extremely low, every river's extremely low. It's not like we can just pull boards to increase it, so if you hear about that at all, it is a reality. Everything's extremely low, and if anybody asks if they can push their dock out more just for the season, it's a no. I've gotten that question more times than I can imagine this summer, but just so you're aware.
Don't ask, it's no.
Yeah. If you want to get a good idea of it, go over to John's Pond in the north part at the town property to see the fish ladder, because there is no water for about, 20 yards in front of it. There's nothing. So Quashnet River is still flowing. It does have spring feds as well, so.
Are they gonna get out?
Nope, so the herring are, if they're in the pond, they're in there for the year, or until the next rains come that open up the floodgates to the fish ladder. Yeah, so it's unfortunate, but that is what it is, so we cannot manipulate it, because, one, you can't do it, but also we have restorations going on all these, we don't want to touch anything, so, yeah. That's it.
We had 6 tenths the other night in my reindeer.
Was that what it was? We need like 5.
We need like 4 days of soft rain.
Okay, so if no other discussions?
I've got one thing I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
I was listening to the planning board meeting last night, and there was an attorney that was there representing, can't remember the name, Osprey Court, I believe it is.
Yeah, right down on
Development
Great Oak
off of
Road.
Great Oak. And there was a discussion that centered around the open space requirement for the cluster development. And the attorney had mentioned that we, the Conservation Commission, refused to accept that open space under our purview. And I thought that was kind of an odd thing. Do they come to us? I don't remember them.
They made a phone call and the answer was no, that's all I'll say. Yeah, we don't get into holding CRs for the town of
Okay.
Mashpee.
Is that what it was?
All of our CRs are held by nonprofits or another entity. We have some in town that we do hold ourselves, but that's because there's also other partners involved, Fish and Wildlife, other partners, especially in the wildlife refuge. So, and we are not personally interested in holding CRs. It has nothing to do with the privacy of the nature of the private property. It's just, we have a lot to do in town already, and we decided to doing that. As well as there's no conservation whatsoever. But the answer was no from that phone call. We're not interested.
The way it was presented, it didn't really shed us in a very favorable light. It was kind of like we went to conservation, but they weren't interested at all in open space. I thought, wait a minute. I don't remember them coming in or doing anything. And eventually, I believe they got an agreement with NLC.
Yeah, right down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, they did, correct. I will also say their planning board permit stated directly it had to be a nonprofit entity to hold the CR.
Oh, well, there you
So
go.
that was also another reason now that I'm thinking about it as well, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to bring it up.
Okay, good.
Thought maybe it was a
You were
meeting I
watching it,
missed.
yeah. Okay, if no other discussion, have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made, second. Sandy?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
I vote yes. We're adjourned.